Hey everyone, Casey Stubbs here. Today we're going to talk about how to create $10,000 a month from your trading. It's a step-by-step training to help you escape from a job you hate to a life of freedom. I think that's probably why most of us start to trade. Maybe not everybody. Some people love their job, but they just want retirement help, or they want a side revenue, or whatever the case may be. That'll still work here, but this is a specifically catered towards helping you at least generate $10,000 a month. We've spent a lot of time working on that specific number because that is a freedom number. That's a number that can really help you. Okay, so about who I am. My name's Casey, and that's a picture of me from a couple of years ago. I don't have as much gray in my beard, so you can see that I've aged a little bit recently, and that's not even that old, but yeah, stuff happens. So what I like to do, I founded TradingStrategyGuides.com. I'm married with 9 kids, so that takes up a lot of my time. I've got a wonderful wife, the best woman in the world, great kids. It takes a lot of work to do that, but it's worth the work. I love to do outdoors and hiking. I like to camp and spend time in the woods. I did a 70-mile hike a couple years ago, and that was a lot of fun just by myself. I want to take my kids on that hike pretty soon. I love to travel, and I love different cultures. Been all over the world. I need to create a list, and I know I'm talking about myself, blah, 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 but I need to create a list of places that I've been just so I could tell you how many countries it's been, but it's a lot. And I'll go over into some of my travel here in a little bit, but I love other cultures too. I mean, United States is awesome, but I just appreciate different cultures because they're so unique, and they're just so many different things that are so cool that you never experience unless you get outside of this country. And I think that we probably got people from all over the world in here. I don't know, but if you're from anywhere else, let me know. Let me know where you guys are from in the chat. So awesome. Okay. I also love exercise, business. I've run a business, veterans. I'm a veteran. Entrepreneurship, which is kind of business. I'm very active in my local church. I just love doing that. I'm also into trading and the markets, which is I'm going to be talking today. Hey, Miguel, and we got people from Mexico, Canada, Sweden. I've been to Canada and Mexico. I have not been to Sweden. I would love to go, though, because my family is originally from Norway, and so it's very similar to that. I've been to Ireland, so I'll just go through and tell you everywhere I've been. Well, greetings and welcome from the United States, Pennsylvania. Okay, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about my history, why trading is so important. Yes, we need to, if we want to talk about making $10,000 a month, I'm going to talk about why trading is really the way to do that. I'm going to talk about a trading journey that each trader goes through, my journey, mindset, mental game, what different markets there are to trade, what types of trader you are, starting small, scaling fast, and then helping get you there. All right. So, okay. So this is actually a picture of me in Kuwait. And someone I met from Japan. We were just talking and getting to know each other. And that's really how I got introduced into cultures. And this isn't about cultures, but I was in the military and I did a lot of traveling, and it's just continued on for that point. My first country I was ever in outside of the United States was Germany. I was 19 years old, and I went into Germany. I was all by myself, and it was just so cool. I was really exciting, and I met a lot of the German people and absolutely loved it. So anyways, a little history about my trading. I joined the Army after an introduction, and that typo says introduction, but the introduction wasn't the introduction to the Army. The introduction that my dad gave me was trading. My dad taught me a little bit about trading, not a ton, because I was just in high school and I was doing other things, but he kind of got, I guess you would say the intro would be like, oh, this is something cool because I can make money. So I made $800 a month in the Army, which is not a lot of money. I was in 96, but I was able to turn that $800 a month into over $30,000. And remember, that's not me just putting the entire 800, because I did need some money to do some personal things, but I was really interested in investing and trading. So I put a lot of money into the market, right? I put a lot of any extra bit of money I had, I put it into the markets, which some of you may relate to that. It's a great thing to do. It's an absolutely great thing to do. So yeah. And then I was able to generate over $30,000. So here I am. I'm 22 years old. I've got $30,000 in the market. It's such a young age. That's a lot of money. And even now, that's a lot for 22-year-old, I think. I don't think a lot of 22-year-olds have over 30,000. But when we consider inflation from 1996, that's a lot of money, right? Nowadays, that'd probably be worth like 70,000. I mean, I don't know. It'd be worth a lot today. Because inflation's been pretty high, as you guys know. And the thing about that is that it was all while I was working full-time overseas while trading, all working full-time. So it wasn't taking a lot of my time. And I was even on deployments to other nations. We did a 6-month deployment to Bosnia, a 6-month deployment to Kosovo, where I really didn't even have access to a computer. It's kind of, this has just popped into my head, so I'm getting a little off script, but we had this satellite phone, right? So we would put a satellite up with an antenna up on the roof of a building, because we were in a place where there was no phone connection. So we had this satellite phone, which was really expensive, and the Army paid for it. And I would use that satellite phone to call E-Trade and make trades with my broker overseas. So we had no cell phones, we didn't even have internet, but we did have a satellite phone, and I would use that to make trades with, which was kind of cool. So just some interesting little stats. So what I did was, that was a 3,900% increase from my profits. And I took the profits from that and reinvested it into another business. So I took all of the money out at that point and I invested it into a carpet cleaning business. And that got me started into entrepreneurship, and I always continued to do trading as well. So this cool lifestyle that started kind of on accident started with trading way back many years ago. And so, as I mentioned, I have 9 kids and we love to travel. It's an interesting little fact that my kids have been in 48 different states, and that's pretty interesting considering, they're young, but we travel every summer. We take long vacations. I visit my family. The only 2 states that we haven't been in is Hawaii and Alaska. And I'd probably choose Alaska above Hawaii just because I think the outdoors there are so cool. Ironically, I put a picture of a beach here. I should probably change that to like something in the wilderness with a bear, because I'd probably enjoy that a little bit more. But I'm getting to the point now, and that is trading has given me the ability to live comfortably. It's given me the ability to be financially free, to have a better work-life balance, to be able to spend time with my family and my kids, to be able to give to things that I want to be able to do, to live life on my terms, and just enjoy spending time with my family and traveling and being out of debt, even buying a house for parents. I know a lot of people wanted to do that. And I have a piece of property where my parents live, not my parents, my wife's parents, my in-laws live on the same property right next to us, right? And that's just so wonderful being able to do that for my wife and my wife's parents. even simple things like being able to replace an old car or getting ready for retirement and being able to take care of your family and not worrying about money, improved relationships, and having security. Just some other things that are just kind of flowing through me right now. We took a train across the country, right? We took a train, and it was just amazing. The views that you'll see and the ability to spend time and just relax and it took probably 4 or 5 days just to get across the country on train. So cool. Along with some other things like being able to have the peace of mind, not relying on others, and you can be your own boss, have a steady stream of income. And it's just really cool. It's really, really been a cool thing. And so I know a lot of people, that's why you got into trading, right? That's why you do what you do and why you've done it, why you've attempted to do it. And so one thing I wrote in the comment there, I said, not all rainbows and butterflies. There's been some severe storms along the way. And I got that rainbows and butterflies saying from a friend of mine. And he always says like, cupcakes and butterflies and unicorns. He does things like that. And so I just kind of grabbed that from him because he's funny and I'm not. But it's not all perfect, right? It's been very difficult. But you see the end result and you're like, oh, that's cool. There's been some severe storms along the way. And one of the things that I'd love to mention about those storms is that they've been very difficult transitions. And they've been a lot of pressure and pain and learning curve, right? Just really, honestly, a lot of stupidity on my part. So here's some things with the storms. Some of it is just the things of life that come against you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Everybody's going to go through storms. But a lot of it has been my own fault, right? It's been me self-sabotaging myself, me falling for fear, me even falling for the scams online and evil marketers. Not all marketers are created equal. Some are good and some are evil. Don't just brush them all off with a brush saying that they're all evil. Some really want to help you. But I fell for some of the bad ones. Some of the other stuff that has really hurt me. And it's been lack of knowledge. My lack of knowledge really caused me a lot of pain. A lack of patience. My lack of patience caused me a lot of pain. And these things that I'm saying are things that have happened to me, and I'm sure that you can relate. But they're also stories that I've heard from many of the people that I've talked to over the years. But yeah, patience. I'm not very patient in my trading. Not executing the plan. Also having a lack of discipline, or even really not even having a solid plan to follow in the first place, and jumping from system to system. I've got a whole thing about why we jump from system to system. We do it because we see something that looks like it's going to bring instant results. It doesn't. And so we try something new before we even give what we have a chance. I'm guilty of that. I mean, I am so guilty of that. But I'm getting better, right? I'm getting better. Not enough money. That's been a big setback for me initially, but I had that 800 and I just slowly built it up. Not having a mentor. That was a big problem. I'm like, I can figure this out on my own. I don't need help. It's kind of a pride issue, but in the end of the day, I'm like, okay, wait, I need help. And that, just understanding that helped me. Not enough time. My job held me back for a while, and some of the other things that I did, even emotional things like not being able to understand my own emotions. I call that self-sabotage, fear, and greed. And even things like the markets being rigged and bank manipulation. Those things have actually hurt me, and I know a lot of you have experienced that as well. And so if we look at this is the image on the right is what happened to me in life. And the image on the left is what people that look at me, that's what they see. They're like, oh man, you're so wonderful. And they want that to be their life. You see my life and you want it to be your life, but you don't see what's happened on the right, which is a lot of storms. It's a lot of storms. And so just be aware of that and understand that in your own life, right? And so, yeah, it's good. So in one of those storms, I lost my revenue. I lost my source of income. My business collapsed. I was working a job. The job collapsed. And then I had to take the money out of my trading account to support my family. And so it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And then on top of that, I had a very little bit of money left for trading, and I didn't trade it well. And I got very desperate, and it caused me to do a lot of bad things. So that's kind of like the storm, right? The storm. And so along the way, I read an article called How to Make $1,000 a Month Online from Scratch, and I followed the article. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I need to start a website. And what should I start it about? Well, what do I know? I know the stock market and I know investing. So I started to write about stock market. And then from there, it started to rebuild. I got back into the markets. I got back into trading. I had some other sources of revenue. And you know what? One step at a time, I was able to bring things back. And along the way, I've continued to have ups and downs, and that's just how it is, the life of the trading. So one thing I wanted to mention here is why trading, okay? Why trading? Trading is really powerful because it gives you time freedom. It gives you financial freedom. It's scalable. It can turn into passive revenue. It puts you in control. It gives you the ability to control your risk, right? You have a very strong control. People think the markets are risky, and they're right, but you have control of that risk. Liquidity, there's tons of liquidity in the markets, and there's no lid. There's no lid to the gains. And so that gives you the ability, like you see on that slide there, to generate exponential growth. And so here's just an example. And when we look at these guys, we got to understand that, yes, it's probably not going to be me. It's probably not going to be you, but we can still do well, right? But this is just the potential. These are some of the guys that I'm sure you've heard of a lot of these: Jim Simons, George Soros, Paul Tudor Jones, Ray Dalio, Jeffrey Gundlach, Carl Icahn, Warren Buffett, all billionaires, all traders. Right? All billionaires, all traders. And you can see most of them are a little bit old. So don't let that get you too worked up, but it does take some time, right? It takes some time. But a lot of these guys were very successful young. It's just now that they're old, they're really successful, right? So it's never too late as well. Remember that. It's never too late. So here's some simple steps that we can do to take this journey to $10,000 a month, okay? The first thing that I want to talk about is education, learning, and mentoring, right? And then the second part is execution. And so I want to just take a moment to talk about this, because education, learning, and mentoring are really important. And I would put mentoring as a different level here. Mentoring probably goes on the execution side because here's something that happens with education. You can take one course, and then you can take another course, and then you can take another course and another course and another course, or you can watch YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video, or read article after article after article. You can do all of those things and still never get ahead, okay? Because knowledge is good and it's very important, and that's where it starts. But until we get execution, we're not going to make it, right? And so you're here today, and I don't know how many of these presentations that you've watched, and they're all great. I know a lot of the people that do these presentations. I've had them on my show, the How to Trade It podcast. I interview traders, And so I've had a lot of these people on my show that I've learned from. I bring them on the show so I can learn and get education. I'm always learning, always. But there's got to be a point in time where you say, I'm not going to try this next new system. I'm going to find one and I'm going to stick with it. And hold on to that stick with it thought, because I'm going to be talking about it a little bit in the future here. But you've got to get to the place of execution. I went to a conference, an educational conference, not too long ago. Well, you know how it is when you say not too long ago and you think it wasn't long ago, but it was actually a while ago. Now that I think about it, it was probably 2015. So I guess it was a while ago. But I went to this educational conference, and it was a seminar that I paid $2,000 for. And while I was there was a lot of people there, and I had taken the education that I learned during that conference, or before that, because there was a video series. You take the video series, then you show up to the conference. And I took that education and I applied it, and I made money enough to pay for the ticket to the conference. And the thing that I thought was ironic was that every single person I talked to, and there was probably 1,000 people at the conference, and I was the only one that I met. Now, there's 1,000 people, so obviously I didn't talk to everyone, but we did breakout sessions. I did a lot of networking. I talked in the halls, but I was the only one that I could find at that event that had actually applied the training and executed. I was the only one. I was talking to other people that had bought many systems. They didn't execute. They tried many systems. They did them all, and yet they hadn't executed any of them. And so I call that analysis paralysis. You get education, education, education. You never think you're ready, or maybe you do the education, but you want to see something else. And that's, jumping from system to system. And yet I was the only one that did it. And so while I've had a lot of storms, one of the good things that has helped me, I've got a lot of weaknesses and a lot of flaws, but one of the things that's really helped me is executing, right? I've executed. And so we've got to do that. And so if we look up there on the slide, it says mentoring and execution. Mentoring will help you execute, right? If you're accountable to someone, I've hired a lot of coaches and spent a lot of money on training and coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, education. I've spent a lot. And I'll tell you what, having a coach has been a game changer, because it helps. I'm good at executing anyways, but so there's two real benefits to getting a mentor and a coach. Is for some people, holding you accountable is really big. And for another, just executing. So for me, I'm good at executing, but what I'm bad at is staying on course, because I'll execute and then I'll try something new and I'll execute. So staying on course. So for me, having a mentor has helped me stay on course big time. And I'm better at it now. Now that I'm a little older, I just go slow, and I have big goals and big dreams, but I'm just going one step at a time, kind of like a slow, slow as molasses, just slowly dripping down, but I'm making it work, right? So then the next thing is just to start small, right? It doesn't, you gotta stop trying to get rich quick, right? You gotta stop trying to get rich quick. That is a big one. All of this stuff is from experience. I also have tried this. When we start trading, a lot of times we have a financial difficulty. We're sick of our jobs. We're sick of our lives. And if only I could make some money and get out of this mess, right? If only I could make some money. But the problem is, when you have that with only, it doesn't always solve your problem. And sometimes you get there and it's like, oh, and you're like, well, that's a good problem to have. It is a good problem to have, but sometimes you're still empty, right? You still got other problems. And so just slowing down and enjoying what you're doing, try to make the best of it, right? Make the best of it, because when you get to the next level, you're still going to have a lot of problems, and it's not always going to solve everything. Money's not always going to solve all your problems. But another real big point that I want to make here is people get into trading and they treat it like a casino. Okay. They treat it like a casino. They think that if I get in there, I'm going to get rich quick. And that's the thing. Remember the one before that, start small. There is no get rich quick. If you hit a big winner, that's great, but more than likely you're going to do something stupid. And I'm not talking to you guys here. Just let you know that I can relate to the doing something stupid. Unless you build a solid foundation of learning how to solve a problem, small and step by step. You know, if your finances are messed up and you're in debt, maybe it's because of inflation and everything's so expensive. You know, I'm not knocking that. I get that. Maybe you really don't make enough money and you need to make more money. I get that. But part of the problem is maybe you're buying stuff you shouldn't be buying right now. Start small. I see traders that have been successful that take out their money and then go buy something, right? I've done that, right? I took my money out and I did great. I was successful and I went out and bought something. You know, I see these guys, they go out and they buy a new truck. Their trucks are so expensive here in the US. They're just so expensive. It's like, dude or dudette, do you realize that that was $1 million truck? Well, why? Because now you're starting over. You took all your profit out that you worked really hard for. You're not scaling it. And now you got to start over. Instead, wait just a little bit. I'm not saying wait long, wait a little bit, and then use that money from the excess, right? Reinvest your profits, and look, the markets is not a casino. In order to solve a financial problem, you have to solve the financial problem. You have to go step by step. You have to analyze the situation, and you've got to do the work. My mentor says, you got to do the work. And so I'm quoting, you got to do the work, right? Doesn't mean that isn't fun or that it has to even be hard, but you still got to do it. And I enjoy what I do and I enjoy the work. I enjoy the process, but it'd take me some time to learn to enjoy it because I was always looking into the future, always looking to where I wanted to be instead of enjoying where I am right now. Okay. And so you start small, and then from there, you get a consistent track record. You just do a little bit at a time. Then step 5 is you scale your account and you reinvest your earnings, right? And so I'm not going to talk a lot about strategy today, and I know that's why everybody's here. I'm getting ready to release a book here really soon, and I'm talking about a new strategy in my book. I don't know when it's coming out, but it's going to be out soon, and I think it's pretty good. Maybe somebody will buy it and they can give me some confirmation on that. But I've got some good strategies in there, and those are important. But everybody thinks that their problem is a strategy, and it really isn't. It's because they don't understand that there's a process, and they don't understand that this process is important, right? And you've got to work on the mindset along the way, right? You've got to have a mindset. It's impossible to become a successful trader if you don't have a mindset. I could talk an entire session on this mindset, and nobody wants to hear it because they just want the slot machine guys, the guys that'll say, hey, I can give you this system that produces results. Boom, boom, boom. Great. I can do that too, but there's a lot more to it. There's so much more. There's so much more. You got to be able to hang on. Self-sabotage, right? Honestly, my biggest thing is self-sabotage. I want to, I still mess up all the time. And I've made a ton. I have to be thankful. This is where mindset comes in. I have to be thankful because I've done so well and I've had so much success trading and in many other areas. And I'm not bragging, but I have had a lot of success. But a lot of times I just beat myself up. because I'm trying to get more. And then I self-sabotage, and then all of the hard work goes away because of my silliness, right? I've restarted so many times because of my own silliness, because of self-sabotage, and for me to always looking ahead and wanting to do big things. I want to do big things, right? But really, I got to understand that if I'm faithful with the little things and I take one step at a time, that's going to grow into a big thing. And I say that to my own shame that I've had just so many collapses along the way. And honestly, I want to be able to help others not make those same mistakes, to bypass some of these things. I just talked to my friend today, and he's like, I said, man, the secret to success is to stop making all those mistakes. And he said, he said, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think stopping making mistakes is possible. And I said, oh man, that's good. That's good. You're right. It's not. We still are going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're still going to make a lot of mistakes, but understanding that it's one step at a time is really big, and building up that mindset. Some of the key things for mindset is believing in the outcome, believing in the process, believing that you can do it, believing. You got to believe. You can't do it if you can't believe. If you doubt everything, it's not going to work. And how do you build that belief? Well, you do the work. You build out a mindset of belief by doing the work, and you have to work on a couple different parts of it. Number one is your thinking, right? You have to eliminate negative thoughts. You have to believe that you can do it. You have to eliminate negative self-talk. When you make a mistake, you don't say, oh, you idiot. You say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm okay. I'm going to do better next time. And then you come up with a plan. How am I going to do better? Okay, I'm going to remove that thought. I'm going to take some time journaling. I'm going to take some time working on my mindset. I'm going to do the work. If you take 5-10 minutes a day working on your mindset, it yields great results over a long period of time. Okay. And so, yeah, these things will help you long term. And also doing the work on your system, right? That's a mindset. A mindset says, oh, there's a great trading system, but I have to do the work. I will tell you, in working with traders, many times I'll say something like, okay, I need you to back test for 30 trades and then send me the results. Do you realize that I very rarely get anyone to do that? And we could talk about why all day long. Like, why won't they do it? I don't know. Why? Why won't you do it? I don't know why. But if you can't do that, how are you going to be successful if you're not going to put the work in? But if you work on your system and you back test it, and then you forward test it and you tweak it and you do one step at a time, that helps build faith that a system will actually work. Okay. And you got to take the steps and do the work. There's some great people that I admire that went through some very difficult times. And I always try to learn from people that have gone through tough situations that came out on the other side, because those are people that I want to learn from. And that is in trading and in other areas of their life. And so one of the guys who I've studied is Viktor Frankl, who was a prisoner in a concentration camp during World War II. And he survived through that. And he just shares that, no matter what, he made the choice that he was going to operate in a joyful spirit, right? That he was going to enjoy life. He wasn't going to let someone else take away his joy. There's things in the world that you can control, and there's some things that you can't. And one of the things that you can control is how you react to something, right? How do you react when the markets come against you? How do you react when you're having a bad day? How do you think about things? You have control over that, right? But it takes work. I'm going to be joyful. no matter what. And I'm going to believe that I'm going to end out on top, no matter how difficult things look right now. I'm not going to look at the current circumstances. Instead, I'm going to look at what the future is going to be if I can continue to do the right thing. And no matter how many times I mess up, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep working at achieving the end goal, right? That's how to develop a mindset. And what that really does is it creates a solid ability to persevere through storms, right? Because the higher level of success you have, the greater the turbulence is going to be. You think it's going to be easier, but it's actually not. There's more and more and more along the way. And it increases your capacity, because there's only so much. If we look at our life like a container, like we're a pitcher full of water, there's only so much that we can contain, right? You feel like, oh, if I just got rich, I win the lottery, boom. No. You make it big in trading? No. Your life is a container, and there's only so much that you can contain inside of it. And unless you personally grow and expand, do the work on yourself, expand your capacity, you're not going to see any growth, right? You got to be willing. The growth happens outside of your comfort zone, learning when that pressure comes on you, when the stress comes on you, when the tough times comes on you. That's when the learning comes, and that's where the growth comes. And you're either going to get qualified or disqualified during that period. And unfortunately, most of us, we disqualify ourselves because we don't push through, and we don't use it as a stretching and a growing. And we actually then try to stay away from uncomfortable situations. Instead, we should be running to them, because we know that that's what's going to help us grow. Okay. So mindset is really important. Okay. Now, I talked a lot about mindset. I like it. I'm going to make a little transition here. So just get that mindset stuff in the back of your mind, because now we're going to talk about different types of trading. Okay. So what kind of trader are you? It doesn't really matter what you are, but it basically determines a few strategy things. But let me know in the chat, out of these types of traders, what type are you? And I'll give a little definition here. There's swing trader. Swing trader holds trades for a couple days, maybe a week, a longer period of time. A swing trader is someone that should have, like someone that's working a day job. They might not have time to look at the markets all the time. Okay. Maybe somebody that is very busy traveling. They don't have time to look at it. A swing trader can trade in a short period of time. They don't need to be in front of the charts all the time. That's one of the real benefits of being a swing trader, is that you can do it without the time that it takes, right? Now, a day trader, and thanks for letting me know, everybody. And in the chat, you guys can keep dropping. I enjoy seeing what you guys are doing. A day trader is somebody that takes, a trade here during the day, and they close it during the same day, right? They might take only one trade a day, but they take it during the day and they close overnight. They might take 2 or 3 trades. They might just say, okay, I'm going to trade for 1 hour, and that's it. I'm going to take 2 trades today, or I'm just going to trade for 1 hour. And that's a great way to trade too, because it still limits your time. Imagine if you could do the $10,000 a month that I mentioned in the top of this presentation, and only take an hour a day, right? That's 5 hours a week. Let's break that down. 5 hours a week working, break that down to $10,000 a month, pretty good revenue. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you how many hours that would be and how much per hour, because I have a rule, and that is a rule: never do math while I'm live, because I always make a fool of myself. Math was not my strong suit. And then lastly, we have scalper. So again, go ahead. If you haven't chatted yet, Let me know what you do, what type of trader you are. We have a scalper. Scalpers are people that take really short trades. Boom, 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 boom. They're just, and scalper and day trader are pretty close, but I look at a scalper. Sometimes you could even call them the same, but I'm looking at a scalper who's like trading for like just boom, just a couple real quick in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And they might do that like 100 times in a day, right? So that's a different kind of trader. And then I guess I could put a fourth kind as an automated trader, right? An automated trader, right? So then the next one we've got is different markets. What kind of a market are you involved in? Right, let me know. There's the stock market, which is probably the most common. Then next after that is options. Options are very well known, but stock market is a little bit more. We have futures, we have crypto. Is there anything here that I'm missing? What do you guys trade that I'm missing on this list, right? We've got futures, crypto. Oh, wait. I just realized one that I'm missing, and it's one that I trade a lot. And there we go. Just came in the chat. Forex, FX, the Forex market is actually right now the biggest market in the world, trading currencies. That's big. I'm big into that one also. And so you got to choose what market that you're going to start with. What market do you want to trade? Okay. And then the way to get rich quick is to get rich slow. This is the quote from my friend, Mark Yegi. Mark Yegi was on the How to Trade It podcast a while ago, and he dropped that quote on me, and I have been using it ever since. I love it. And it's basically just taking monthly gains consistently, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and then it adds up to a lot. And so I want to talk to you now about the J curve. Okay, now this is really important, and you got to remember here. So you start out, and here's the 0 mark, and you're not making money. You're investing. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing, and then you're maybe going sideways, but you're still down. Sideways, still down. But you're focused on one thing. You're not looking at the big money. You are. The big money is always in the sights, but you're focused on your execution. Okay, you're like, okay, if I make some people have said, well, it doesn't do any good to make $1 a day. Well, actually, you're wrong. I'm not going to waste my time. That's what people have told me. Well, if you can't learn to make $1 a day, what makes you think you're going to be able to make 10,000 a day, right? Or 10,000 a month? You've got to start small. And so you start out. Anytime you learn anything, this applies not just to markets, but this applies to if you want to learn to run a business, you start out underwater. If you're learning a new language, you want to learn how to speak Spanish, right? It takes time. You just grow gradually. If you want to pick up a new sport, tennis. So I just am coming up with a little side story here because of my kids, and I don't want to, I'm running out of time, so I don't want to go too long here, but my kids were playing Fortnite, right? And so they're like, Dad, you got to play with me. And I'm like, oh man, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. So I started playing Fortnite, and that's a really hard game. I'm probably talking to a bunch of older people like me. You probably haven't tried it, but man, if you've tried Fortnite, let me know in the comments. It's hard. And so I was just playing like, okay, I'm going to just give this 30 minutes a day. I'd come home from work, I'd play for 30 minutes. And I did that for quite a period of time. And it was time with my kids. It was very frustrating, but eventually I got good at it. And I'm still get crushed by them, but I got decent. I could actually play, right? And so that's kind of like, no, it doesn't matter what you do. You just start out slow and you get there. All right. So I'm going to speed up. So it starts out, you get the right education, you start small, you build a track record, and you reinvest your earnings. All right. And so now one thing I wanted to mention is that nowadays in today's trading world, there is a way to speed this up. And I'm not discounting anything that I'm saying, but scaling can happen faster, right? So you still got to do the small. You got to do the education. You got to do what you need to do, but you can grow faster because of prop firms, right? And I'm the founder of globalproptrader.com. And we have prop trading up to $1 million. Okay. So what I'm working hard to do is help people get small and successful so that they can jump quickly, right? So we go back to that J curve. I'm getting people to do this flat line. And then when I see that they're ready, then they can go up here and kind of jump all of that, right? So it's all about I still totally believe that, but I've helped people scale a little faster. But you can't do it without skipping steps. You still got to beat the foundation, okay? So the way it works is you trade our money by taking a test and paying a small fee up to $1 million. But hold on, not so fast. 98% of the people who attempt a prop test lose, okay? They lose. And so let's talk about why that is. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons, okay? It's because a lack of discipline. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have strategy, no training, no accountability. And I could talk about all of these, but I think a big one is, right? They're just not focused on the small gains. They're trying to get to the top without going through the growth phase. They're trying to get to the top of the J curve without going small and consistent. It doesn't work. You're going to blow up. You've got to go small and consistent, right? And lack of discipline is a big one. It's huge. It's so critical. I see, risk management. I log into the accounts when people fail because I own it. I can look at what they're doing. And I can see every time it's the same thing, way too much risk, not following the rules, right? Those are two disciplines. Those both fall under the category. They're not following their rules. They're risk every single time. I don't see that without fail for the people that fail. 90%, guys. 98%. So please do not test. You have to pay to take these tests. Don't do it unless you're ready. Okay. So how do we fix this? Well, I have a mastermind and I do weekly coaching. You get education. So it's that accountability. You get accountability. You get trading education. You get a customized trading plan. It means whether you're a scalper, swing trader, day trader, we're going to help you create your own plan. And then we're going to walk you through it. And then every day, every week, I'm going to right here. I'm looking for you. Look at my webcam. I'm going to say, hey, Jim. Hey, Jill. Did you follow your rules this week? Hello. And you're going to be in a group and you're going to say, well, I thought that I could make $58 million. So I just let the rules slide this time. And I'm going to be like, no, you don't do that. Okay. I'm kind of being funny here, but it's really like, I'm here to help. I'm not here to beat people up, but we all need it. We need a little bit of help, right? I am so crazy. I'm a crazy dude and I want to go big. And I always say, go big or go home, right? But it's caused me a lot of pain. And so now I want to help people avoid the disasters and the tears and the pain that I've had in trading. So you get a trading strategy, accountability, and it's not like, and I love all of the educators in the world, but we're here. We don't leave. We don't, you don't join and then we walk away. We're here. We're here for you every week. Every week we walk you through it. We're here to help. And so it also includes a prop test as well. And so, join the Winners Club, definitely possible to do. And so we're getting ready to close up, but I want to share a couple things. I'm going to open up the opportunity to talk to me, but there's a couple things. It's very limited. Not everyone is going to be able to do this. Okay. It's a select group and I want to help everyone. And that's why I'm hoping that some of these nuggets that I dropped is helpful. And I have education and YouTube channels and all of that, my podcast, the How to Trade a Podcast, my book, all of that's designed to help, but I can't work with everyone. And so that means that I have to work with a select group of people. So here's some things that you got to have. Number one is you got to have the drive to succeed. And what's been really amazing is I've talked to people that have been losing traders for 20 years. That's pretty amazing. And it's in some levels, it's a little bit sad. And if you're there, I'm not knocking you, but it's a little bit sad that you keep going and you haven't been able to get past that hurdle. So if you're in the 20-year camp, raise your hand, shout it out loud. There are people out there. I've talked, just recently, I talked to a guy who was trading for 15 and another for 20, and they still had never been profitable. But I gotta commend them. They didn't give up, right? Because I can guarantee if you give up, you're not going to do it. I hope it doesn't take 20 years. You got to do the work on yourself, and that's where we help. Right? We help with that. The other thing is you got to be a giver. And what I mean by that is you don't have to give lots of money, but you got to be able to contribute and help out with the group, right? Because we're in a group and we help each other, right? And I just want to be with people that are really wanting to help others. And you got to be transparent too. One of the big things, and I didn't talk about this, I could probably do, there's a lot of shit involved in traders. They're shameful because they lost money and don't tell anyone. You got to be transparent. So anyways, and then the last one is you got to have cash flow. So in order to do this, you got to be able to have cash flow because the exclusive service, you got to have a job. You got to be able to put the work in, and it's going to cost something, right? And so with that being said, I mean, if you think about what the claims are, hey, that is what they are. Cost some. But anyways, if you want to sign, you can go here. I created a QR code. You can scan it, or you can sign up and talk to me at CaseyStubbs.com, CaseyStubbs.com, or you can scan that. So just sign up. I have a very limited of phone applications that I'm taking tomorrow. So you can sign up. You'll get put on the waiting list. If you can sign up, what it's going to do is you're going to put on a waiting list, and there's going to be a calendar. And if you can get on the calendar, great. If you can't, just get on the waiting list, and when it opens up, we'll give you another chance to get on the calendar, because my calendar is always booked, usually in 5 minutes. And it's just, that is what it is, because I've got a pretty big following and there's only enough time to talk to so many people. But if you're really interested and you feel like you fit the bill, then, and what I mean by that is if you fit the traits of the people we're looking for, I would love to help you break through, experience freedom, and get to the next level. And thank you all. And David, thank you for the opportunity for letting me chat today.